好了，我们回到比赛中啊。我他妈这个网页播出来不能全屏，有点奇怪啊，有个办法，等等，我知道什么有办法了，我直接这样就好了。哦，这样也不行，这样也不行。
Because remember, the moment that Lancer upgrade finishes, and you see the biokinetics lab spinning there, he will jump on top of the gaunts and wreck them. You have to be very careful about overextending with these attacks. He takes the dog down, but seeing those lands...
不要急，我们先看好吧，等一下我来调。直接一波过来，怎么说呢？各种卡位置啊，各种的在甩。不操作吗？这斧头兵，这操作可以啊，终于死了一个刀兵，要死第二个，胖子再过来，再顶一下，双方操作都很漂亮啊，斧头兵有点不太够了。好了，终于斧头兵的这个不是刀兵的科技啊，就角速终于升完了。那这样的话，恶魔只能退啊！现在他如果再往前走的话，很有可能会被就你的斧头兵根本就站不住，他可以直接过来。还要打吗？你这个是不是过了？直接过来，直接把他妈斧头兵全部砍了呀！砍刀队，我靠，全部给他砍了。好，反打能砍多少砍多少，速度快，想走就走。这波压制下来，其实双方来说的话，可能 top 稍微亏一点吧。三冠刚才退了一次，而且开的相对来说现在比较慢。这个阶段感觉恶魔还是要压制啊。我是觉得现在压制其实很难压到东西了。
Only for mech units, but you can actually put the med tech inside the tower, and it has like a big healing aura. It's amazing. But
就看卡位置了。斧头兵这个刀兵第一时间去找斧头兵，把这个斧头兵全部砍了。但是下面有一些小怪，还有一些胖子，看他怎么来卡位这个位置。啊，走，留了条缝，这个条缝可以。怎么在 A 自己基地啊？刚才。修一下，不着急。这一波其实这个刀兵很难能够砍得到斧头兵，小怪胖子太多了。好，枪兵来了，那只能走了。这枪兵输出高的一逼，追着砍，速度提起来，追着砍。妈了个鸡的，一个都不要走！哇靠，这个砍的！有个地堡，这波差不多得退一退啊！啊，放了个技能，再放个地堡，差不多得退一退，这波打不了。那这个局面其实打到现在为止，两边应该都会稍微的调整一下，这个时候不会再进行一个接触，特别是恶魔这边刚才还是被追的有点伤的，现在经济才是最重要的，经济和石头矿，这是最重要的两个东西。人族这边要憋护士，然后憋火神。 对，双方现在这个时候时间点打个野，对吧？比较友好。好，看到这个恶魔的这个军坦了，哎，这干嘛？搞笑了。啊，这样打吗？这波打不了，没有地包打不了。你冲过来就是死啊，冲过来死就是你冲了就是死多少。完了，不好弄了。下一波医疗兵就到了，还在出刀兵啊！他不要医疗兵吗？直接你妈刀兵直接枪兵直接 A 一波吗？感觉是要 rush， 感觉是要 rush。这个枪兵非常多啊，输出爆炸。有两个阿兹莫丹，但没有。哎，没那个没有那个科多兽啊！如果有科多兽就好了，有科多兽这波随便打。这阿兹莫丹有卵用，这个阿兹莫丹，记了。GG。集火枪兵一下一个，但问题是。阿兹莫丹的这个输出是4秒钟，他4秒钟才能打一下，你们自己算时间。你能集火几下？对不对嘛？这个阿兹莫丹真不行，我不骗你们，真不行。昨天你们大可在那边爆阿兹莫丹，我就觉得妈是很蠢，你知道吗？哦。
Amazing opening series, right? I think we had some great games here. I think we're going to start by dissecting the one we just watched, Kiwi versus Kel. Let's start with game one because that game to me was phenomenal. I think I noted down it's like a game of transitions. I think maybe out of all the games we've seen so far in this tournament pick, that might have been the perfect example of so many switches happening, right? Counter to counter to counter to get us in that late game.
不是，我们下一场就是 Party 的比赛 ，Party 比赛打完之后，好吧，就结束了。我们主要看看 Party 的比赛。别全屏都变形了，我看看啊。好吧，我来弄。这样吧。
Ready for the Atlases in that game one, and that sort of, and those Atlas shots, man, when they land on the gaunts and the small units, it is brutal.
Absolutely, and I mean the cool thing about that idea of the Weavers as well is they changed it so that it's not a base damage now, it's percentage based, right? So tanky units get slapped pretty hard. But Ben,
人都拉快了。
I noticed the words dirty coming through your lips.
拉不了 OBS， 拉不了 OBS， 我这个就全屏。
Creeping tower on the high ground, just completely dismantling game number 2 for Kiwi.
That probe, or that tower on the high ground definitely caused a reaction. And then one thing that
风暴之门。你们说风暴之门，我有机会再拼一枪吗？兄弟们，有没有机会再拼一枪？不要打击我。
The reflection on the other side, I think like Dragon Moore so far opening this day has been defined by towers, right? That first series of Pro versus Snockstar, we saw the cheeky funnel town on the high ground.
不是。
Things looked like it was going to be a 2-0 for Kiwi in there. That was a phenomenal.
我觉得是有机会拼一枪的呀，这时候没有机会了。妈个鸡，把自己关在杂物间， 对吧？上来之后把自己的关在杂物间3个月，闭关修炼。
So clever, man. Like, you know, I was doing a lot of build a command post at their base, bring all my bobs, overcharge them, because you could do that on a command post the moment it starts, cancel it and kill them with bobs. And there's something I realized very quickly is like Lancers without the upgrade don't do much other than not die. Like they can kind of micro and survive for a long time. They don't do a lot of damage. So part of me is like, even if he defends the catapult in that game with the Lancers, can they even defend it that well? Like they won't die.
孙宁，哎呀，我跟你说啊，就是我跟你们说，现在这些小孩子，他们不太喜欢 RTS， 就这些小孩子很少，就喜欢 RTS 的人不多。其实对于这些小孩子来说，也不是说一定要玩什么游戏。对于比如说，就对于孙宁来说，他的想法很简单，他就想有个游戏，对吧？他跟他的朋友，包括同学一起可以玩，就是一种社交。但是星际没法社交啊，你怎么社交？
Jagamore definitely still a big question mark, but looking forward to our next 2 series. Not as big of a concern actually, because we've got Infernal versus Infernal matchups coming up. I want to start with the 4th series we're seeing there, because I want to leave the talking of parting until the second.
其实就是社交啊，他们其实很简单，就是我看他平常在打，就玩和平精英，然后妈在这边吹牛逼跟他那些朋友，就这样的呀。 你不然呢？你跟他打奖金的事实。DOTA 也可以社交，你妈 DOTA 不能社交。DOTA 打得好，他妈都是兄弟；一旦打得不好，妈逼都是妈血海深仇，我操！说个锤子。
Talk to me about the next series you've got. A big one in a lot of people's eyes. Parting versus Prolu. Parting who, if he does get through here, will be facing off against the...
这方面你感受可太深了，没有。我只想掏出我的1号位，帮助黄哥上传奇，我没有别的想法，对不对？其实我不是一个坏人，我真的不是一个坏人。 兄弟想上传奇，对不对？要掌控命运，我只能他妈的掏出1号位。
哎呀，我回来了，军哥。
他们还在吹牛逼。这个波山打完了已经。
Parting 要上了是吧？
对的。
看看他啥情况呀 ，Parting。
他们应该是恶魔打恶魔啊，最后一场。 他们现在都在说我在害你，黄哥。
Means he might have been holding a bunch of secret strategies. Somebody's figured out. Meanwhile, people like Krolu, they show off a lot in that qualifier, and I imagine Parting was sitting there taking notes above it all. But I think, boys, it's time to get underway. Another best of 3, folks. This one between Parting and Krolu, and we are going to kick off Broken Crown.
Thank you very much, KP. As
always,
our fantastic host.
还有他们2个打完啊，不
Parting 来了呀。
哎，怎么不应该是恶魔打恶魔吗？我看他们这个
这个人转人族了吗
？Liquid上的介绍是恶魔呀，这个人，对不对
吧？这个人觉得人族强，现在转了。
也行吧，我觉得挺好的。
就看看 Parting 怎么打。
对啊。
Parting 起手也转人族。
那他妈脸都不要了，我操！
Giving the finger to the webcam, shouting "No GG," "F you no GG" when his opponents, you know, don't do the mannered leave of the game with a good game. He's a psycho, and he plays a bit like a psycho.
他在这个项目，至少我觉得前期他就游戏出来前面，他肯定是有这个竞争力的。Party 这个选手，这个是不用怀疑的。他必然要苦练。
He's a great fella, but he's just unbelievably skilled. Like one of the things that will always stand out to me is that Home Story Cup 10, where he played against Flash in the final. Like it was an unreal comeback that he did. It was a close to unwinnable situation, but he made it happen. It was like map 7 of the best of 7.
妈，这个火神我真的是日了。妈，这种 AOE 出了个5、6个火神，你这种多少胖？
火神很硬。
对你多少胖？
这个天梯第几啊？我看一眼啊。
多少胖多少斧头兵，他妈上去都是送。
这个 K 开头这个兄弟天梯第几 ？KROU。查不到哎，这兄弟查不到，不是这个 ID。
有没有可能是别人换个 ID 呢？
对，天地上不是这个 ID。
哎，能进16强，妈都有东西的这些人，不然你们以为一般都来搞笑的是吧？
真的转人族了？
他，哎，反正我看到是恶魔，所以我就奇怪了，妈怎么是人族？我靠！
好看 Party 怎么打啊？嘿嘿，看看你妈的天梯第一打得过人族不？
哼，妈的，你这个话有点带节奏，黄哥。 他就是单兵斧头兵开啊！
你这个是咋不是全屏啊，熊哥？
对，我调不了全屏啊，很奇怪。
要不我来推算呢？
那你推，来，
来呗，3、2、1。
As familiar with, but we've heard great things about his play as a fantastic Polish Infernal player, and one of the few Infernal versus Infernal mirror matchups that we will be seeing here. So, Parting's gone Conclave first into a very quick expand, and actually playing Vanguard here. I don't know why I was confused there for a second. I guess I was just still stuck on the fact that we had the races Infernals on the bracket on Wikipedia. I had it wrong before. But yeah, it is going to be that non-mirror matchup. So we're continuing to be blessed here with just tons of non-mirror matchups, which for me, I love.
吃个草呗，把自己血吃回来。
Pieces clashing.
Absolutely, Krollo going for that expand with 4 bobs, and that seems to be something that a lot of these players.
我主要看 Party 他的这个就如何应对。从现在打看那么多下来，我感觉啊，那么需要石头放，这个是不是过了？他要干嘛？
Oh wow！
他直接跳2本吗？
他肯定要直接跳科技啊，不然的话要那么多石头搞毛啊
！Shut down Parting's air build. Now, for those who didn't see, basically, yeah, probe.
他这个肯定是算过的，是什么战术
？Parting with 2 hanger on it, and it was Parting's famous 4-minute drop. So for those who don't know, Parting is famous.
2本呢，感觉升2本的。
Every game he expands. 4 minutes, he drops a bunch of gaunts in your base. It's so early, people have nothing that shoots up, and he just flies around your base in circles, dropping, picking off workers, disrupting your mining, and he's expanding and macroing behind it, and he just basically overwhelms you from there. And it's this unstoppable force that's so it's the 4-minute Parting gaunt drop. But because of that, we've seen Vanguard players basically just blind counter it. They're like, rush!
直接跳飞机
Thing that shoots up. Oh my god, stop!
他妈个鸡！我看 Party 怎么来打飞机，好吧？
What's interesting is how Parting
不，这个他妈也太夸张了。
From there to kind of transition forwards.
但是你别管啊，他就偷出来的呀，的确他可以偷出来，因为
1个兵不到，直接造飞机。
恶魔是不可能前期。
这哥们儿不就打恶魔的吗？
啊，对啊。
不装了是吧？
你以为你们前站起呢？我靠！
In Parting's base, he's producing a lot of these gaunts, isn't he? Like this is 3 on the map so far. They're just running around, grabbing, but I think he's definitely looking to do something a little bit gnarly this game here, Piggy.
Indeed, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
再起个宝。
By the way, the you know, I don't need to have too much other production.
哎，他是不是那个都没起啊
？Straight for those Hornets. Remember, it's the Hornet shield micro that we've
直接
seen do a lot.
直接去了吗？
2 or 3 gaunts commit to a fight, they damage it, it
我操，他
shields.
妈
and
真
it
的
just kills
硬
a
啊！
whole bunch of them. But look at this
这被
micro
修
from
了
Parting.
呀！
Look at the micro. He picks up and saves the
帕
gaunt.
丁啥意思啊？他妈就要顶着打吗
时？间快
He does manage to focus that gaunt down, does Crowley, but another
他就
gaunt
等
right
这个
inside
时
the
间
Doombringer.
到，这波有点凶啊！这波，
帕丁好快呀，他这个节奏。
To the first shield. There should be a second
哎，
horn
不
about
修吗？
to take,
先
but that's
修
gonna
啊！
take a
对，
while
先
to
修啊！
repair, and already
直接到
Crowley-
家了，
直接进去
进家了呀！小虫子进家了，
他肯定进去啊！
打双线呢，帕丁。
Hornets just a little bit faster.
你这打法你又没东西的，我靠！
They are met by
我觉得农民有点硬啊。
might get 1 bob for his troubles. Not a bad little trade there for Parting. Also
打双线呢，下面被搞了。
Oh, gauntlets wreaking havoc.
他有个
This is
宝，
exactly what we're
有个
talking
宝可以
about.
修。
Man, this is so much damage. Just the
你
fiends
修呀
running in there into the
妈
main
他妈的，这个
bomb.
飞机也没跳出啥东西
Great
啊
way！to do it. Notice he's focus firing the
不
hornet，there.
那是因为帕尼这个战术有点好。
Healing up, and as that Doombringer takes damage, you got to be careful. Now
我
that
靠，
there's
他
2
还
hornets
闪。
versus only 5 gaunts, they will do very well. But Parting's micro. We told
帕
you
丁
guys
就是
his
操
micro's
作
next level. He's
他妈的
really doing
哥就是操作
what
好
other players do, where he's dodging
来呀
inside
哥就是操作好
to avoid losing his units. And you can see Crowley's had enough. He's like,
这
I'm
你
just
妈
gonna
还
shoot
顺便
the
把野
Doombringer.
给你打
Every
了。
time the Doombringer lands, it's regenerating its white armor as well as the white armor of all the gaunts around it. So
3个飞机了。
哎，这运输
运输机要被秒了，运输机要被秒了。哎呦，没秒掉。好的，下面应该是打得到的，这个下面是摸得到你的矿区的。
他修的是真的快啊！运输机差不多走了。
这不就是闪
这波帕丁打得非常
飞裂吗？你妈的！
帕丁这波打得非常主动，一头直接
关键他
3矿
运
都看好。
营没有停啊，他3开了，帕丁。
对，这个就节奏很快了。
Hey, no Doombringer here though. This is a great little trade for these gaunts.
Oh man, that is going to be
Or rather,
very
great little
nice.
trade for the Hornets rather. My bad, my bad.
As long as they get home, yeah. It's funny because I was like, I'm not gonna.
这哥们儿被压的妈飞机都出不了呀。
Turn around and the Hornets are gonna die. No, perfect pullbacks. That was great. There is a third on the way for Parting.
帕丁几兵营的呀？好像是5个兵营在缠斧头
As
兵
we
啊
get。to the pointy end of this tournament, and how much different the skill is between the players.
他好像是5个兵营
as
在
we
缠
get
斧头
deeper and
兵。
deeper, which is fantastic. I'm so excited to see
这个
this.
斧头兵数量是不是有点夸张了？
From Kalaris in the chat said that
啊，
Crowley's
终于把
actually
运输
been
机
a
秒
very
了。
high-level heart of the Swarm player, was also a pro
难道这个斧头兵有那么猛吗？
in StarCraft 2 as a semi-pro, so
你妈那么多
has a
斧头
pretty
兵，
rich esports kind of history behind him. But Parting, of course, being a former StarCraft world champion, he loses his Doombringer there, but he's got
这时候是应
感觉这
该把刀
个飞机
兵把这个刀
出门就被
兵
搞，出门就被搞。
that were actually
帕丁拉了一波什么东西出来呀？他家里面又出了一波什么东西啊？这他妈地图上
You've just got about 1 billion of
看
them.
看
He's got a lot of them, man. Like he is
正面是什么？
妈直接
农民一波。
他直接
这是狗毒帽呢
a lot of units in general. Is he just going to be throwing down?
这个以前没见过，真没见过。
这不就刺蛇狗毒爆一波
I don't know
吗？
what he's going to go for here, but this is
直接
absolutely
变身，直接撞，把你这个地堡全部破
Did I
掉。
say heart of the Swarm? I meant Heroes of the Storm. Anyways, all good
飞
there.
机
It is，
我靠，
impressive
你妈的，
to see
这
these
飞机
charge
门都
forward.
出不了，
Parting's about to
全给你打
打不
了。
过这飞太多了。
好了，来了呀，毒爆一波了。
Crazy. That is absolutely insane.
巨变，巨变，把农民撞了呀！
要气吧？他没来了，来了，来了，来了。
肯定有气啊！
Oh no!
这就是 Party 吗？这就是天地第一吗？
稍微
谁说恶魔打不了的？
稍微有点不完美的，就是应该先让斧头兵把这些妈农民都感染了，这样的话你爆一波小。
He puts down the forward shroud zone as well. Absolute monster. He took out the whole bob line. Now don't get me wrong.
没了呀，这在打毛啊！
Free sacrificing your own workers, but he's got Crowley pinned on 2 bases, and this is the power of Parting. Gets in there with the gaunt drop, overwhelmed.
这就是天地第一吗？
Like a psychopath. Very well played by Parting, mate.
可以啊，打开了恶魔的新思路。
原来恶魔是这么玩
every
的
one。of these timings
爆斧头兵，你妈了个鸡！ 跟他拼了！
His expansion's fast. It's all very clean, and then it's like, all right, what's he doing here? Okay, flame on, and he wasn't on 2 bases.
恶魔不努力，你妈的！
So, you know the macro. You can bet your absolute butt that there is going to
你
be.
们说的没错，不过，
third thing behind
哎，
that
不过呢，这个人族的这个打法有点奇葩。
incredibly,
那倒是，那倒是。
他打法真有点奇葩，我靠！
That was filthy. That was filthy.
You know, I've heard about his imps and how devious they are.
太
It's just
就多练，
surprising how
妈的
early he pulls
永
so
恒
many
的
imps,
真
right?
理，
That's
你妈的！
crazy. And Remember, it's like hard to
这
use
狗
those. We've
逼
seen
你
so
妈
这
的！
游戏突然就变得好看了。
The other player just runs
他妈的
away,
恶魔能赢就好看了
maybe
是吧？
two of them connect, and you're like, oh, you just blew up 10
他们
workers
就
for
想
nothing.
带恶魔
Good
赢
job,
把，我
buddy.
告诉你，这帮
Harding
逼。
showed there good patience. He was blowing up like a few at a time, waiting until he had the right opportunity, and he did such a good job. And it all came back to the details in the early game. That's what happens when you have great skill expression in an RTS and a guy like Parting. It's, oh, you're going to chase after my gaunt. I'm going to pull it back. Start a step, pull it back, shoot, and then pop
这
it
个
into the
魔
Doom
尖
Ring.
临时
And
换
your
组
Hornet
还
isn't
输了，
attacking
丢
nonstop,
人
right?
丢
We're
的
seeing
大。
pro games are like Hornet's just shooting units, kills
他可能打不来恶魔打恶
one,
魔
shield
的，
pops up, kills a third one, kills a
对
fourth
吧？
one.
这有
Cool,
可
I
能
got
的
my
呀。
heal, now I have 2 Hornets, you've only got like 4 or 5 gaunts. I massacre them. It's almost game over from there. This was such a similar matchup between the two. It was crazy fast Hornets versus crazy fast gaunts, but it was just the micro that made the difference. Parting's a sicko, man.
He really is a sicko, and this is one thing I've noticed in AoE 4 as well. Like when we've had moments where new units come out or new civs come out, which it happens, right? And then it's like, all right, how do we use these? Are they good? There's a civ called Ottoman that they have a special hand cannoneer unit. There's going to be AoE 4 guys in the chat. Initially,
第二
when
张
this
地
unit
图
came out, we were just like, man, this unit sucks.
阿挺，
But it took one guy just making enough of them, because you know if you sprinkle them in, it's like they don't do anything. It's like, oh,
哎，
yeah,
帕丁今
yeah.
年几岁啊？我
But
靠
he made enough of them that was like,
嗯
oh my god, they are one of the sickest.
帕
他
丁今年几岁啊？
挺30岁了吧，差不
One of the
多。
best civs you can absolutely go for,
30岁了，
primarily because of how good that back line is. So
妈我
us seeing
这
gaunts used, and it's like, you know, they're sprinkled in and they're decent, but it's like, hey, it kind of works against how the lance.
还是有点大的。
Yeah, I'll show you how it's done. I'm going to make nothing but them, and then you'll see how powerful they are. Just really cool to see little bits of changes here in RDS and how they work.
Oh, the barracks is not building there. I think Krolu, did he miscommand this? Oh no, Krolu accidentally stopped building with that Bob. I don't know how that happened. The barracks was just sitting there with a Bob directly above it, not building. An unfortunate mistake there.
Coff 他最近月底他参加了一个比赛，
But
然
unfortunately,
后
that's gonna cost him because
也
he's
是这个风暴之门的比
he's
赛，
mining the Ethereum to try and get the dog upgrade. And
他打的是 Coffee 你妈被他打成屎了。
Come down. And there we go. Biokinetic Slab is on the way, but Krolu going for a heavy pressure dog opening and having that slowed down by an unfortunate mistake. Going to give Parting a little bit of freedom in this early game as he does the standard Gaunt fast expand.
其实现在看 Party 的打法，你主要看他是什么时候，就是怎么分配资源的，这个很重
Okay,
要
do。I still have you there, mate? Looks like we may have lost Demu. So that's okay.
多少农民踩石头，这个非常重要。
Going forwards here into that.
你看 Parting 也是10农民采矿，是不是嘛？
Okay, good choice here.
对啊，
妈的，上来我就说这个10农民采矿是合理的，
Wants to go for the speed camp in secret. If Krolu catches
说明这些选手都研究过的呀。
catches these gaunts, that would be massive.
好了，爆狗了这盘，看 Party 怎么来解决。
Here of hinterlands as well. Bit of extra Ethereum always adds up. And the dogs haven't found it.
这个斧头兵你别说打野还是挺快的，你发现没有？好像有建设的说法。
See if we can get on forwards to take this on out. The dogs finding it. The goats do go down.
漂亮，这两个小虫子爆的很关键。
That was a few seconds difference.
哇靠！
我靠，他小虫子护着这个，他护着这
他很
个，
像强咬，
但怎么都要被咬掉吧？
哇，这个操作其实很 nice 啊，这操作。
怎么都要被咬掉吧？不转，我觉得这个小狗不转，他操作被Parting爆了。
Back here, Piggy. I did send you a little message on Discord.
完了，还是一条狗，再是一条吗？哇靠，操作被爆了。
Just survive for this long without water. But yeah, so far Parting just doing what he does, and it looks very similar, right? Just going to be
有东西啊。
this game. He's also doing that trick with the Luminite.
根本就前期根本就不要胖子，主要就是把先把野打了，然后爆出这种小虫子，小虫子就可以护着这个斧头兵了。
No worries, mate. Oh, dog's getting surrounded.
这完了呀，这没得打了已经。
The dog opening's meant to really keep the Infernal player like locked in, losing all their important
操作
units.
还是可以啊。
But we've just got a fiend orgy coming on here. These guys are just going to charge in and have a party, mate. This is really bad for Krolu, and it all comes off that barracks being delayed at the start, just accidentally not.
他那个斧头兵没上来，
About 10 seconds.
无所谓了吧，这个已经大优了。
Parting's got control with.
对
He's doing.
这波小虫子他狗怎么解决啊？他没地堡哎，他这时候他不整个地堡他根本解决不了。
This game's gone incredibly well for him, hasn't it? And these dogs, They can maybe do something here, but the
整了
getting their damage done.
他妈现在就怕被感染，一被感染就妈只能跑。
It's not going to happen, and Krolu in all sorts of trouble. About one of the best units he can make at this point, maybe getting some lances out, but there's already quite a lot of firepower here. It's absolutely rough.
All right, expansion is going to be taken
妈果然是其他恶魔不努力啊，
就
没啦。
Parting over
结束了
overrated. I think any of us who
就没啦。
put in our place. Not that I said that. I don't think anyone really said overrated and overhyped, but definitely putting, you know.
包括我上厕所，妈来，给我30秒。
Dominating against a very good player as well.
这就速通啦。
He's just looking unstoppable right now, parting the destroyer of Stormgate in the beta.
Definitely. Like, he did something very different to what we saw from a lot of Infernals.
原来他们恶魔只要出斧头兵就能赢。
They weren't necessarily about dictating the pace. They were on the map with using brutes and stuff, but he was just gaunts. And then in your face, and he had these waves ready. He knew when to attack. And it is army comp very different.
他就操作好，你就占不到他这个便宜。
Very cool, very aggressive, very abusive. I'm very looking forward to him versus Probe to see what they both bring, because that will be a quarterfinals match, and that's what I look very forward to.
Yeah, I definitely want to ask Krolu what happened with that barracks as well, you know. I saw a few people like, oh, you know, it's not that big a mistake.
他们都没看到他们后期 party 怎么打，就感觉都没有后期，前期就压死了。
Since we weren't really looking at it, we were watching the dog harass because, you know, you watch the action, that's what you do. But looking back and seeing your barracks that he'd started just not building, I was like, oh no, such a bummer. So unfortunate for Krolu there, but I think we could see that even if things went.
有人说 party 可能要跟后面比较强的那些人打，才看得出来。
He's definitely shown he is a strong, dominating
30秒到了，孙哥的30秒可能跟你们的30秒不一样。
But wow, I'm just shocked, man. I knew parting was good, but it's kind of cool to see his debut in the last few weeks after hiding all of his play just look unstoppable.
Certainly, and I know you got to talk about Hydra earlier. That's a guy that's just good at games, seemingly. Night Phoenix, for those that don't know, he's a pretty damn decent Ukrainian player in StarCraft 2. Plays Protoss, probably around like 6.2k MMR on the ladder, but he's been very open about, hey, I'm going to be focused on Stormgate a lot.
再看看。
I'm excited to see what he can bring.
干嘛？你们还要看吗？
These players, like, this is absolutely a new platform to shine on.
这个恶魔打恶魔，你们要看一把吗？
你们要看就再看一把。
要不看一把恶魔打恶魔，好吧？看完了我们就去孙哥打那个了。没 party 呢，今天 party 没比赛了。
对他已经进8强了，
他进8强了，明天是8进4进2决赛。没了，这个已经。
就你们现在看下来，其实还是蛮有意思的嘛，这个东西。
I said that previous match was our first Infernal versus Infernal, but actually that was actually. I guess I should have mentioned in the series, Krolu did play Infernal in the qualifier, by the way, but swapped to Vanguard, which was interesting. But in this match now, we've got 2 players who I'm pretty sure have been sticking with Infernal the whole time, and they are going to be battling it out in the mirror matchup. Now, going out there with an imp to grab the resource pickup.
是厉害的人有意思。妈个，这是的呀，
啥游戏不是厉害的人打有意思呢？
I guess he's decided.
是的呀。
Sneaky creep path up here. Actually, whoa! Is he going to tower rush, or is he opening a backdoor harassment path, perhaps? Interesting strategy. Whatever Night Phoenix is up to.
It really is. It looks like he's just getting himself a path to be able to get over here later on. Very quick fiend out for Hydra. Did he just get a brute and then just split it up, and now he's going to be able to get on the map himself? But he's getting a lot of these resource situations.
这几比赛其实收视率还可以，他们官方频道有3800个人在看。 还不错，
而且现在我估计最后可能会有个5、6千人，他们官方频道，因为刚开始
还有一个频道有1300个人，基本上就加起来就5000个人。
对啊，我就说最后官方频道可能会有1300多个人，因为大家现在都看新鲜嘛，对吧？看新鲜，你本身它也是这种暴雪系的这种 RTS， 大家其实都看得懂的嘛，说白了。 你只要稍微有点 RTS 基础的，你都大概知道别人在干嘛。我
点过去，你们还发现王哥，风暴英雄 一个比赛，居然现在有1500人在看，已经
是有
买了很多了。
啥游戏都会有人看的呀。看不懂。哎呀，你基本上的这些东西都看得懂的。国内的风暴比赛做起来，那这个还早吧？我也没想那么早做比赛什么的。我觉得至少你要等到他们3个组都出来了，对吧？三本什么的，有个基本雏形的、基本框架这种搞好了嘛，才开始搞比赛什么的。大家娱乐是可以的。
不，我是觉得你至少你有了你至少 beta 了，对吧？那大家都能玩到了
啊，对呀，而且大家都能玩到了嘛。你这个不可能是就几个内测玩家在搞。
你们有很多兄弟看不懂啊，说实话，虽然他们有 RTS 基础，但是他们看不懂。
我的意思就是你至少也是要大家都能玩了。这个东西你说搞比赛什么的，那搞一搞，这个是没问题的。
I played back in the very early days where the dogs started off with a slow.
这个有建设的，这个辅助兵会建设一下，谈一下。
My first 5 games were against like a few of them were against parting on that meta. Dude, those dogs just killed everything. They were so overpowered.
这个 Night Phoenix 这个选手，以前也是打这个星际的，但是那种欧洲3流选手，没有打出来。
那你要是没有打出来的人，实在妈太多了。
等游戏上色了再来，那是的呀。
不着急啊呀，兄弟们，真别着急。妈个鸡的！
先，对吗？不用抢先，抢啥先啊？他说妈的，以后别人比赛搞起来了，你就搞不了了。
没有这个说法的，他搞他的，我们搞我们的，对不对嘛？
对呀，你首先这个游戏还是大家玩的再搞，而且我说实话，到现在为止，国内其实没有太多人去关注这个东西，也就我们这些人在关注。
对。哎，说白了，只要一听你妈的是 RTS， 已经你妈兴趣少了一大半了，好吧？
对，没有那么多人关注。这个 Hydra 是海皇吗？不是，这个 Hydra 不是海皇。这个 Hydra 是一个荷兰的一个选手。
That's why he's hid the meat farm off in the corner and why he's taking shrines for supply instead. He's like, this way I don't have any pigs in my base that you can turn into the Fellhogs. 300 IQ preparation from Night Phoenix, which gives no easy attack.
那各种运输机骚扰啊
and they're not as tough as Bob's with overcharge, but not nearly as effective as it would be, not as explosive.
这有点烦了，抱小同志了已经。
Unfortunately,
有点烦了这个。
Quite a few indeed. I mean, the amount of damage
妈4个农民。
啊，他们恶魔打得好快呀，就是他妈的胖子带斧头兵对砍。
对啊，然后各种贴啊，那怎么办嘛？
现在他妈的已经玩成这种了是吧？就各种对吧运输机操作起来。
不是运输机这个单位可以牵制住对手。侦察加牵制主要是。
Night Phoenix chasing.
哎呀，有个地堡。
Let me get on top of you. I love that. I only just realized there's a big eyeball on the front of the Doombringer, by the way.
但骚扰结束了呀，2矿也没有什么好骚的，兵都在。
I still didn't notice. I'm looking at this. It looks like a big worm thing hanging down, like a. I have no idea.
It's on the other side of it. That's why. As soon as I said it, they both turned north, so you can't see. It's only when they're facing south you'll see it.
But now it's kind of a case of like, all right, you've harassed me with that. Do I have to stay back at home? Because I'd love to harass you.
反骚扰。
And I mean, Hydra was slower with his third base, but I think he more than equalized with what he got done there.
妈这也，
这
个也说实话，
有的呀。这个恶魔的运输机有一个传送的，可以回城的。就保存，有一个保存可以回城的。双方就在拼抗压了呀，他们等于是就是拼运输机操作抗压。
现在运输机在天上就可以接，这个实在是操作就便利很多。
He didn't even get to kill that creep camp either. Like all those units are left with very little health, but that makes me think that his units are quite battered and bruised behind all this as well.
either that or this drop has scared him so much because he knows he doesn't have enough to defend the third and the high ground. So he's like, oh, maybe I just need to pull this.
投个科多兽下来，直接搞，但别人可以投出去啊。搞技能。
Oh, and using the super tower as well.
我靠，两个人他妈操作好极限啊，好漂亮，把命出几秒了。
可以哦，
继续骚扰。
现在主要不用降下来就可以这个了。
不用下来就可以接嘛，这个是一个。
对，这个方便很多了。
Night Phoenix is all over it though, man.
主要是你这个游戏你有一个极限操作的说法的。
Done such a great job with these drops and these you know the first drop did hurt him a lot, admittedly, but I think this follow-up counter drop he's done has just been so effective. And remember those meat farms. If you do a fiend drop down here on the expansion, you get
黄哥快抢！所以说风暴老男孩，你妈也不至于，不至于。
他妈个鸡，这用得着这样吗？我就问你们。
Did Night Phoenix take a shrine on the Ethereum in his in between his natural and his third? By the way, oh, man, this drop just won't stop.
Yeah, he has to be so careful. He does take a shrine there on that Ethereum, so absolutely committing a lot to getting a lot of Ethereum out. And you see that Hydra in his main base, he has a lot of imps getting Ethereum as well. So
这个节奏的确很快，两边都在搞。
Going on from Hydra in the base of Night Phoenix, and this is a scary one, man. Stompy boy coming in with the gaunts. Could be scary.
Stompy and first combo is
我操，这个科多进去踩农民也很快啊！
妈，一般人是没有人他妈科多去骚扰的呀。
Stampeding rhinoceros into a
对不对嘛？
child's playground. It is not good for those imps. Night Phoenix micros most of them to safety. Does take out the Magmadon and so on. So maybe an overcommitment there for Hydra.
That's such a big army from Night Phoenix now. Like if we had supply numbers, I dare say he's just.
科多这个兵种还是非常重要的，特别在正面战场。
Rotterdam when he arrives to the party a bit late, you know, he's been at the casino, had a few, gets to the party, just trampling all over the shop, knocking over every应
感觉两边碰一碰了。
You know what? It feels that way, dude.
这个农民啊，这个农民应该是应该是开矿去的农民。
It's been a good night, boys, and that's how Night Phoenix is feeling right now.
It definitely is. All right,
哈廷啥情况？来晚，哈廷把别人速通了，
轻松就获胜了。哈廷，
还告诉大家，其实恶魔还是有的打的。
对，他主要操作很强，他的操作把别人爆了。
Very much focused on those gaunt drops, just like Parding was, and I wonder if Parding's Infernal versus Infernal will look similar to this.
Yeah, I think it's such a good move. It's kind of almost guaranteed. Obviously, Shadow Flyers catching them could be effective. Something we might see at some point in the meta, people squeezing that in just to shut it down because it is so frustrating to deal with. At the moment, people are like, yeah, you don't really want the Shadow Flyers for anything but that. So do you really want to bother opening up that tech tree? Most players have decided, no, it's not worth it. Just have a better army for fighting. And that drop scouting on the right side here for Night Phoenix. While his army goes in on the left, is he looking for a flank? It looks like. Oh my! Big Infest gets kind of.
没了呀，我觉得。
互踩。
没了呀。
He is so outnumbered right now. This is.
阵型其实已经挺好了。
主要兵太少了。
对，这个 Night Phoenix 明显是比他的基本功要好，比旁边那个海爪的，对吧？就运营什么的操作打法其实都差不多，两个人。
就拼抗压呀。
对，就科多带斧头兵带胖子。不是海皇，是一个荷兰的选手。海皇没有打这个。空投科多，我操，下来猛踩。这个科多真的输出挺高的，我说实话，太精确。
而且最重要的是，在恶魔打恶魔的时候，
而且不阵型。
科多就。你主要斧头兵对空太弱了，所以说运输机基本上是不可能被秒的。把两个运输机搞进去，
我操！
直接妈的打傻，
海的妈妈都不认识了。
And so much damage being done, so much meat and raw power in this army. It's a truly primal army that he's rocking with, and these gaunts he's trying to fight, keeping them alive, but just more blue turning up.
机器。哎呀，好了吧，差不多了吧？这个恶魔打恶魔不是很好看啊，感觉。
走吧，
走呗，我们搞一把睡了啊，搞一把睡了。
走，黄哥，
搞一把睡了。
你只要记住一件事情，
主角
黄哥，
舞台
25分。